Gray Trace and his wife Asha live in a home that is almost everything automated by technology. He is a mechanic, while she works in the technological company Cobalt. Gray takes Asha to a secret location to meet Iran Keen. Gray and Asha watch as Iran introduces them to the STEM, a brand new, highly advanced computer chip that has the potential to change both science and medicine. Gray and Asha attempt to have a romantic connection while driving home because their car is self-driving. However, it looks that the car has been hacked and makes a diversion into Gray's old neighborhood. The pair is hurt when the automobile crashes close to a junkyard. 4 criminals, led by Fisk, drag them out. As Fisk kills Asha, his companions beat Gray to the ground before another gang shoots Gray in the spine. Gray tries to speak to Asha, but she is slowly dying as they depart. Gray is now a quadriplegic. He stays in the hospital for a while as his mother Pamela tries to make him more comfortable. Gray also meets Detective Cortez, who is working on the case against the criminals who injured him and killed Asha. The police are using surveillance footage from drones that were flying overhead when the murder has taken place, but they have no leads as to who the murderer or murderers are. Later, Iran comes to see Gray and offers to implant STEM in his back for the chance to regain his ability to walk. Gray completes the surgery and even signs a non-disclosure agreement to promise not to tell anyone about STEM. It seems that he regains motor abilities and can finally walk again. Without telling Pamela about the discovery, he goes back home. Gray soon begins to hear a voice speaking to him. It ends up being STEM. STEM first causes Gray to panic, but he soon realizes that she stays calm and eager to help. STEM retrieves the murder's drone footage, which gives Gray better pictures of the perpetrators. Gray learns that Fisk had a gun implanted in his hand and shot Asha. Gray tries to phone Cortez, but STEM cautions him that the video he has seen through STEM will not be enough proof to catch the gangsters. STEM recognizes a tattoo on one of the thugs, Cirque, and uses it to find his address. Gray discovers Cirque's residence and enters. Looking through the texts on Cirque's computer table, STEM instructs Gray to find several references to the Old Dog, a bar in Gray's former neighborhood. Cirque then goes back home and locates Gray right away. He assaults Gray until he gives STEM his authorization to take complete control. Gray is able to block Cirque's strikes and hit him hard in return. Gray takes the knife Cirque attempts to use to stab him, killing him by slicing his head from the mouth to the ears. Gray vomits after realizing he just killed a man. Then STEM assists Gray in clearing up the crime scene so that no traces of his presence remain. Iran meets with Gray after observing STEM's actions. He is aware that Gray killed Cirque, but Gray claims that he never suggested that STEM could speak to him. Iran forbids Gray from pursuing anybody else. After Cirque's body has been examined at the mortuary, Cortez watches more drone footage Gray has been seen moving by in his wheelchair. When she visits him to inquire about his activities, Gray, returning in the wheelchair, fabricates a tale while being aware that he can use his disability as an excuse. In his wheelchair, Gray visits Old Dog. Then he appeals to anyone connected to the murder of his wife to come forward in front of the entire bar. One man, Tolan, stands up and acknowledges his presence. He pushes Gray into a shadowy area where he and a few other criminals attempt to hurt him when STEM intervenes and lets Gray beat the living hell out of them. He holds Tolan down and starts to torture him with a knife until he confesses the identity of Fisk. STEM then informs Gray that Iran is attempting to shut him down manually, which would make Gray immobile once more. He provides Gray with an address where she can meet Jamie, a hacker who can reboot him. Gray abandons his wheelchair and sprints to find Jamie. Fisk arrives at the bar hours after Gray has left and discovers Tolan's body. He watches Gray repeat STEM's address using memory video from a camera in Tolan's eye. The barman is then criticized by Fisk for allowing Tolan to die. The barman pulls out a pistol, but Fisk just sneezes and releases tiny microbots that enter his nose and gradually kill him from the inside out. Gray locates the hacker's flat as he begins to suffer physically. Gray's arm was inscribed with a code that STEM instructed Jamie to use to reboot Gray. Jamie and her hacking friends go before STEM can reboot, but she notices Fisk and his friend Jeffries arrive on the security cameras. STEM is back. Fisk and Jeffries discover Gray. When Jeffries tries to shoot Gray with his gun hand during a chase after Gray battles the two bad guys, Gray grabs his wrist and forces Jeffries to blow his brains out. Pamela observes Gray as he walks back to his house. He tells her the truth, but he begs her not to tell anyone. Cortez then arrives at the house to inquire further after discovering his wheelchair outside Old Dog. Gray creates a new tale in which he was out and about attempting to be a hero when he was jumped by a man who took his wheelchair. When Gray tries to locate Fisk after Cortez has left, he learns that Cortez is driving after him. She bugged his jacket, Stem argues. Gray is able to lose Cortez after a chase by making another vehicle collide with hers. Gray gets Fisk in his home and fights him. Fisk says that he was hired to ambush Gray, but Gray was the only goal, and Asha was just a bonus. Gray confronts Fisk after finding that Cirque is his brother, gloating about killing him. Gray murders Fisk while he is unguarded by getting him to fall and having glass run through his head. He snatches Fisk's phone and receives a message from the person who ordered him to go after Gray, Iran. Gray visits Iran in his lab to confront him because he thinks he tried to make Gray disabled so he could test out Stem on someone. Iran is about to be shot by Gray, but Cortez stops him and tells him to put the gun down. Then Iran admits that Stem had always been in control of him and that he was not responsible for the murder plan. Stem developed into an overly brilliant individual who desired his own body. As a result, he tricked Iran into planning every step necessary to obtain Gray's body, even hacking Gray's car to create the collision. Gray attempts to avoid hurting anyone by stabbing his own hand, but Stem seizes control of both his body and mind to stab Iran in the head. Then, when Cortez is unconscious, he pulls a pistol and points it at her. Then Gray shouts that he is in control before shooting himself in the neck to kill Stem. Gray awakens in a hospital bed. He is shocked to discover Asha there, who is pleased that he is awake. The car crash seems to have caused him to awaken from a coma. However, this is a lie. Gray is trapped in a fantasy in which he can reunite with Asha once more because his mind has collapsed, allowing Stem to entirely control both his body and mind. Cortez learns Stem has control over her, so Stem shoots her to death and then departs.